Thanks to the support as a channel member, Polar NQ. Well, it's taken a lot longer than it usually takes at the start of a non-league to legend, but 46 episodes in, and we've finally had our first job offer from a Football League club. Hello, welcome to part 46 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have the FA Cup first round tie away against League 2, League 1, Colchester, and also a league game, a promotion challenging league game away against Fylde. Since you were last with me, we have continued our ongoing unbeaten run. We've been unbeaten a long, long time now, since the current run of games, basically, that we're now getting back into. First day of the season was Aldershot. We got battered. We've just faced Aldershot again and drew at home. Aldershot are a better team than we are. And that really emphasises what we've been saying all season long. There are 4 very good teams in this league. We're one of them. I think we might just be the weakest of the 4, despite this form. But we've got Fylde and then Stevenage coming up in the next 2 league games as well as a difficult FA Cup game. We could potentially go through these 4 games having not picked up a win in any of them, which does take the shine off the form a little bit. This is what the league table looks like. 24 games played. We're now only 6 points behind Port Vale, who are starting to drop some points. But with Fylde and Aldershot in between us and them, it's a very frustrating league table. And you can see that gap has formed now behind the 4 of us as the breakaway team. We are the big 4. We just need to make sure we're the biggest of the big 4 when all is said and done. Now, of course, I did mention a job offer. And I was going to throw over to Past Kev. He's not that far in the past. He's from about an hour ago. I'm going to throw you to Past Kev, and he's going to talk you through what happened with the job offer. Well, this is a very weird situation because normally I would go into a job negotiation expecting that I want the job. But Shrewsbury looks like a great job. They're in League 1. Yeah, they are bottom of League 1, so it's going to be quite the battle. But they're only 6 points clear of safety. There's more than half a season to go. Looks like the perfect opportunity to take the step up into Football League management. Probably shouldn't turn up in my Leamington club tie and badge, but you know, it's the only one I've got to hand. But I'm immediately taken aback by the fact their opening offer, yeah, it's a 2-year contract, but it's only on £800 a week. For context, I'm on a 2-year contract and I'm earning £1,000 a week at Leamington, and we're in incredible form. At the time of the job offer coming in, that's the kind of form we're in. We're closing the gap at the top of the league. Now, I fully acknowledge form can take a downturn at any time. We've had lots of experience of that in this save, and we could just as easily mess up this season, finish mid-table, losing the playoffs. There's so many things that could go wrong. But one thing that won't happen is I'm not going to get sacked at Leamington unless things go spectacularly wrong. So from a realism perspective, I'm not going to leave for a pay cut. It doesn't really matter what the job is. Now, this could change later in the save. Later in the save, when I've got £2 million in the bank because of years of success at various clubs, it might be that I take a club for footballing reasons and not money reasons. But considering I've got to move house to Shrewsbury, why on earth would I take a pay cut? So all this looks fine. They want to play the kind of football I like to play. Entertaining football, high-tempo pressing football, not signing old men. They want me to work within the wage budget, sell players on at a profit. This is me down to a T. They're happy for me to fight bravely against relegation, which the translation of that from football manager language means I could go in, get relegated and still not get sacked. It's like the opposite of the Walsall job that was available before. Steve Cottrell, the previous manager, was there for 6 years. So they're used to having long-term managers in place. But I'll start negotiations. I would be happy to go, but they need to double their contract offer for me to take them seriously, because I am not going for a pay cut. And quite frankly, I'm not walking out on a 2-year contract at a club that I'm enjoying and things are going well. I'm not walking out on that for a small pay rise. They're going to need to give me a significant pay rise, and they are nowhere near the amount of money that I would expect. I'm going to go straight in and say, double it. And let's see what they say. They've laughed, basically. They've gone back and oranged it. Right, okay, I'll be reasonable. I'll say, okay, take it down to 1.4. I'd potentially do 1.4. And they've withdrawn. So I have had my first job offer of the save. But I think you'll all agree there was pretty good reason not to go. You could be managing in League One now. I'll live with you. I didn't expect to be turning that down, but we did. So we continue. Obviously, if we now do hit that run of poor results, it makes that decision potentially even more questionable. I know a lot of you will be giving it in the comments all of the, you take the job for the career progression, blah, 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 nonsense. I promise you, in real life, I mean, what is that? £200 a week is £10,000 a year. So if you're earning £52,000 a year like I am, I don't think you're taking a £10,000 a year pay cut for the next 2 years for any kind of career progression. When you're on that kind of salary, that's a big pay cut. So I think we were right to, even though a lot of you will disagree, I think we were right to stay at Leamington. And I'll be made to look even more right if we win these next couple of matches. So first up is Colchester away. We do have a new signing as well. He's not going to be going straight into the team, but we brought another player in on loan on lots of money. We're just throwing money around now because we've got it to throw. Paul Smith is another central midfielder, can play as a defensive midfielder. He's on loan from Portsmouth until the end of the season. I think we have now filled this squad with sufficient bodies at this point. We've got a 24-man first team squad. 2 of them are goalkeepers. And I know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them are loans, so we can't actually play all of the loanees together. So one of these loanees is going to be disappointed more often than not. But I think that is a very solid squad now, which should stand us in good stead for the second half of the season, as long as we can keep hold of key players. Obviously, we've still got that ongoing promise to Armstrong Okoflex that he can leave for £90,000, which would be a disaster because he's now up to 11 goals from 12 starts this season. And that would be a big blow if we lost him. And there's going to be other players who would be looking to move on. Gilks is unhappy because we're not playing him at left back often enough, but it's because we've got Kiezu. So I don't know, we might be losing players in January, so we're trying to bulk the squad out a little bit in the meantime. And we do have the money to be able to do it. If we push that to there, you can see we are still within all budgets. So the team for the big FA Cup game against Colchester, a second round tie is at stake. This is the team we're sending there. It's French in goal, a back four of Kiezu, Roberts, Tavares and Dixon Bonner. Magoma and Clark together in midfield. And then Gilks, Berry and Redfern supporting Goodrum up front. We get the rare treat of being able to have 7 substitutes for the FA Cup. So a bit more of a mixed bench. And fingers crossed we can go out there and pull off a result. Oh, now my washing machine and the aeroplane that went over both at the same time have stopped making so much noise. We can actually get into this football match. Oh, it's lovely and quiet now. Why are we at 6 o'clock kickoff? What day of the week is this? Are we on the telly? There's so many questions coming off the back of what I've just seen. I'm sure that said 6 o'clock kickoff. There's every chance I misread it and it's actually a 3 o'clock kickoff. I'm sure we'll find out after the match because kickoff time doesn't seem to be on the... I thought we were going to score a very early goal there. Kickoff time doesn't seem to be on the match info anymore, which it always used to be. Hold on, we can have a little look. Match info? No, it doesn't have kickoff time on there. I wish you could make it so that you could fully see it. I realise the ball is there, but the game is paused. Let me look at the whatever it's called. It's not the iPad, is it? That's probably a copyright name. The touchline tablet, that's what they call it. We all know it's an iPad. Who are you kidding, Sports Interactive? Right, can we... I mean, I would love an early goal here. Remember, League One opposition, but League One opposition that's having a terrible time of things. They are down in the relegation zone. They've had a very difficult season. Tavares, our club captain, was at Colchester a few years ago. He says it's an horrible place. Particularly commented on the fact the ground is awful and weirdly located. Am I thinking of Colchester or am I thinking of Gillingham? One of them down there in the bottom corner. One of them down there is a horrible, weird, out-of-town, new-built stadium with terrible parking and one road in and out that's horrible to get out of. I'm like 90% sure it's Colchester. That's what Tavares said anyway. None of this is coming from real-life experience. Right, ball over the top, looking for Redfern, but he wasn't able to keep up with the flight of the ball and it's intercepted relatively easily by Colchester. And here is Tavares up against what's presumably one of it. That's not Scott Smith, formerly of Leamington, is it? Playing for them? Because that would be really troubling if it is. No, Sam Smith. Some guy that's not our Smith. That's all right then, because I don't mind having one of their former players. They shouldn't be having one of our former players. That's unacceptable. We're at a League One club, by the way, and completely playing them off the park. I genuinely think if we can get out of the National League, I think we win League Two the year after. I know that's a bit of a grandiose statement for a team that have been stuck in non-league for 6 seasons of this save now, but I do feel like we're a coiled spring and there's not that much of a step up. We've talked about it before. There's not much of a step up between National League and League Two. The bottleneck is the fact it's only 2 up, 2 down. So you end up with teams that are too good for the National League getting stuck in the National League because only 2 can go up each year, whereas there's such a pile of dross in League Two, but only 2 of them can come down. You get a load of nonsense circling the drain for 10 years before they eventually drop out of the league. So I do think we'll, at the very least, I mean, I'm assuming I'm at the club long term, which is a pretty big assumption. But I think if we go up, we go up again the next year. I think we go back to back into League One. And if Colchester are coming down, then you could argue that maybe we are already a better team than Colchester and the league structure just isn't rewarding us for that. Gilks is in here playing it across to Dixon Bonner. He shoots from the edge of the area and grabs the goal to open the scoring. It's Colchester 0, Leamington 1 on the hour mark. It's a lovely finish from Dixon Bonner. It's lovely football from Gilks as well, actually, because his instinct would have been to play it into the penalty area, but he sees Dixon Bonner charging up from right back and just slides it across the edge of the penalty area where there's no Colchester player defending. They're all sat back deep on the 6-yard line almost. And Dixon Bonner's just there to slide it home. He has to navigate it through a sea of players, but once he does, it's 1-0. We're going to take him off because he's tiring, being up and down that right-hand side all game long. We're also going to take off Berry, who's struggled to make any kind of impact so far. Isa can come on for him and Goodrum can drop back down into that little pocket of space in behind the striker where he arguably plays better than he does up front. It suits his style of play a little bit more. I think long term his future is probably as a second striker rather than the man leading the line. Colchester have got the ball in the back of the net here, but it's been disallowed for an offside. We're getting a replay, and yeah, I mean, it's the typical FM22 post update 4 men offside from a free kick thing. We've all seen a lot of that recently, I'm sure, but from the very next highlight, Colchester get the corner and beat us at our own game. It's a free header in the penalty area, really, and it's a little bit alarming that it's gone in so easy, especially when we've got a man on the line. Who's that? Hughes, who's just come on. He is only 5'7", but still, what's the point in him being on the line if he's not even going to jump up and try and head that away? Right, what have we got on the bench that could come on and try and grab a winner for us? No one really. I'm going to bring on, you know what? I might bring on Smith. I was going to bring on Livermore, but let's have a look at the new boy Smith. Get him in there, making his debut, 10 minutes to go. He fancies himself as League One quality. Let's see if he is. I mean, I'll take a replay back at our place. It does mean that we won't get to see the Fylde match because tomorrow we've got Port Vale coming up. We're not gonna get bogged down in this first half of the season for too long. But I think the FA Cup at this point of the season is probably more important. We want that cup run. We want the money. I know our finances are looking good after the player sales in the summer and probably some more to come. But an FA Cup run is always good, isn't it? So I think it'll be that match next. If it slots in after the Fylde game, I might show you Fylde and then you'll just find out tomorrow how we got on in the FA Cup. I don't know which one you'd rather watch. I might do that anyway. I'm going to do that anyway. I'm going to show you Fylde. Mind changed because it took so long to load. Fylde is more important. It's to do with our promotion to the Football League. I'll show you the scoreline of the Colchester one so you're not left wondering. But we will play Fylde on camera because I think that is actually, in the circumstances, probably the bigger game. Actually, looking at where the replay has fallen, the Colchester game is actually after the Fylde game, so you will be left guessing until the next episode because we'll end the episode at the Fylde game. So whether or not we play a second round tie will be a mystery. But we will do the second round draw. Obviously, we are in the hat for the second round and would like, I don't know, I think we might be good enough at this point to just hope for a home game that we can win so we can get into the third round and get a real big money tie there rather than looking for the slightly big money away game now. But really, we just want we're just happy to be in the hat. We're probably going to lose against Colchester in that replay anyway. Called Reading in League One. That would have been a massive game for us. Right, we are going to be at home. If we get past Colchester, it is a home tie in the second round. So we want one of these little National League North teams. That'd be perfect. Eastleigh or South Shields. Eastleigh, of course, who won the National League last year and are now rock bottom of the League Two, having lost their manager after getting promoted, or South Shields, who have JJ McKiernan on loan, I think. Yeah, there's JJ McKiernan, who is knocking in the goals for them down at that level. Not quite as many goals as Theodros is, actually, while we're checking in on our players who are out on loan. How do you spell his name? It's like this, isn't it? Theodros, who's been playing as a striker for Guiseley. They're playing as a deep lying forward as part of a front two, and he's got 13 goals and 4 assists on a 7.33. We have quite a few players tearing up tier 6 at the moment, and Theodros in particular, still only 20 years old. I would be looking at him to potentially make the step up to the National League next year, hopefully on loan somewhere else because we're in League Two. But that draw is now complete. So let's draw all those teams. When would that match be? Because it might interfere, if we play in it, with when we would play Port Vale. Let's just pick a game that's already scheduled in. So theirs would be on the 5th of December. So if we do make it past Colchester, we would... It doesn't line up with Port Vale, so we wouldn't show that in the next episode either, because the big focus is Port Vale. We could do Port Vale in the third round if we get there. Can you imagine that? See, we're really prioritising the league this year. Let's go and beat Fylde. So a couple of changes for the Fylde game then. 3 of them, in fact, all enforced. Mo Ice is away on international duty. Tavares and Redfern both having a week of rest after playing too many games too close together, because I haven't rotated them properly. So Williams comes into the back 4, as does Hughes, so Dixon Bonner can move up into midfield, and Occo Flex is in on the right-hand side. Other than that, it is the bulk of the team that you've just see play so very well against Colchester. And I guess this is another one of those examples where we find out just how the National League does compare to the bottom half of League One, because this is all of a sudden a big top-of-the-table promotion clash against one of the best teams in this league compared to one of the worst teams in that league. I suspect Fylde will be tougher opposition than Colchester were in that FA Cup game, as they're showing straight off the bat by cutting through our midfield. But luckily, Dixon Bonner is in there to make the tackle, although all he's really done is slow the move down. But then Chiezo does intercept, and Dixon Bonner plays it out to Occo Flex, who's got a little bit of time to pick his man, plays it back to Roberts, and now it's back with Occo Flex again, and Hughes is off on the overlap, but just slows himself down, checks his run a little bit, and we're just going to keep hold of the ball for a little while, I think. Play the ball over the top for Berry, and now he's in some nice space, plays it back to Hughes. We've kept possession for a long time here, crosses over to Gilks. Gilks now brings it down nicely, cut back to Berry, back to Gilks. Somebody have a shot. Berry does, and Berry scores. It's another in a long line of really very good Leamington goals as we continue to show just how good a football team we are with the ball at our feet. We might not necessarily have the muscle and the oomph that some non-league teams have, but when it comes to knocking the ball around nicely and playing Kev football, this is how I've wanted my team to play all along. This is why progress has been slow, because it's taken us a long time to get a group of players who can consistently play this way. But as you keep seeing in these episodes now, when we play this way and we do it well, we are fantastic to watch. Chiezo now with the throw finds Berry, who is getting around everywhere, playing in that attacking midfield role today. Goodrum now to Clark. Now Gilks is in, and Gilks fires it just wide, and you've got to believe if it's Occo Flex or Isa out on that left-hand side, like it has been for so much of this season, we're probably 2-0 up. But, I mean, Redfern and Isa both unavailable today, so Occo Flex having to be used on that right-hand side means Gilks was really the only option to play on the left for us today, and unfortunately, he doesn't have the right foot to be able to cut inside and fire into goal from there. Occo Flex now on the right today. It's Clark again in midfield, playing it over the top, this time for Goodrum to chase. He can't get onto it. but Fylde is scrabbling around to clear and can only get it as far as Hughes. Berry now to Goodrum. Look how far forward Clark has gone. It's total football from us. Again, our central midfielder just rounded a goalkeeper, and now it's bobbling around in the area. Someone put your foot through it. Dixon Bonner does. And there's the second goal, and it's Dixon Bonner with his second goal of the episode. Clark was brilliant there, but look how the spine of our team can rotate around. You don't see it from all the way back, but Berry dropped really deep, Goodrum dropped really deep, and it was Clark who ran beyond them both and then rounded the goalkeeper. And all the while, we're continuing to keep possession of the ball, and it just bobbles to the man who's in the right place to take the shot. Which, I am so excited about this team. Goodrum to Roberts from the corner, and his header is straight into the hands of the Fylde goalkeeper. But this has been about as good a first half as we possibly could have hoped for. Hughes brings it down from the Fylde goal kick, but it's actually given it away to the Fylde attacking player. He's corrected his own mistake, though, and then just a bit to be nice and sporting has played a cross into the middle on their behalf that nobody was there to get on the end of. Can we have the ball back now and just run down the clock until half-time? They've actually got a man in behind here, and French is a little bit out of position again. He's at his most challenged from that kind of run through, but luckily the angle was so tight that they were only able to fire it into the outside of that post. 2-0 at half-time, and the league table is starting to look really very interesting. As it stands, we're only 1 point behind Fylde, only 4 points behind Port Vale, who must be dropping points again today. They are hitting their little wobble patch. They're only... it's 0-0 in their game. I saw they were away from home. I didn't see who they were playing. But if all results can stay as they are currently, then we are getting closer and closer. Fylde, and not having any of it, though, would have just scored an absolute screamer from about 35 yards out. It's ridiculous. They can't get past our back four, so they've decided to not bother trying, and they're just going to shoot from, 8 yards in front of it? It's not. I thought they were shooting from back there. It's actually only about 25 yards. They only had one more defender to beat. It looked very different from the other angle, I promise. It's not quite as good a goal as I thought. It was actually a little bit sloppy from us to let him shoot from that kind of position. I wouldn't mind him shooting from 35. He scores from there, he's earned it. From where he's shot from there, it's more a case of we shouldn't be letting him get that shot away. Right, big ball forward again. A lot of their clearances are very aimless and being picked up by our defenders. And now Goodrum has got in behind them here. He's run it quite wide, looking to play the ball back in. It's Gilks and now Clark. We've got Hughes on an overlap on this side. Kiesu's on an overlap on this side. We're just keeping hold of the ball again. Crosses, looking for Goodrum. In fact, finds Occo Flex, but he can't get the ball on target. That was a big opportunity for Occo Flex. He's been a little bit hit and miss today. And I don't know what we've got on the bench in terms of an attacking option. Knowles, but I guess Goodrum could go out wide and we bring Knowles on. Goodrum's also not had the best game of his Leamington career. But in fact, Goodrum's tired, so we're just going to take him off and bring Knowles on. That's an easy first change. I think Occo Flex is probably going to stay on because we don't really have anybody to play in his role, and he's always good for a goal. What we will do, though, is bring on Magoma in midfield, which is a nice change to be able to make. And Kiesu's shattered, so Kevin Cairns can come on for him, our third choice left back, getting a rare run out in this game. We've actually just added him to the loan list. Would be keen to get him out for some game time with some of the other boys playing down in the league below, just to get some games under his belt, as it's becoming clear that he's probably not going to play a lot for us this season. Now we've brought Gilks back into the club as another left-back option. But we have managed to hold on. That is a huge, huge victory for us when it comes to pushing towards automatic promotion. And it looks like Port Vale were held to a 0-0 by Scunthorpe as well, which is massive. So what was once a 13-point gap between us and Port Vale at one point is now a 4-point gap. And we play Port Vale in tomorrow's episode at home, having already beaten them away this season. It's happening, boys and girls. It's happening. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.